What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh, this is Overlanding Now, and today we're going to be working on installing the Nixmen Pro Series LED off-road light from Nilight on the Subaru Outback Wilderness. This video should be super simple because I already have wires ran, I have my brackets on, and we'll talk through the brackets and all of that here in a minute, but this is literally plug and play. And the reason I'm putting these lights on is because they're way less expensive than what I'm running now, and I'm very curious to see if I will get any type of a difference. This video will not be about the difference of the lights, it will be the simple installation. And one thing that I'm going to do is use the same connectors from my old wiring harness to connect directly into these lights. That's the first part of this. When we talk about the cost of high quality, if you want to use that word, or just more expensive off-road lights, they are much more expensive, but they come with the same exact wiring harness and the same exact connectors. The only thing that's different is how the lights are manufactured. I don't know enough to get into that today, but what I'm going to do is put these lights on the Subaru Outback Wilderness. I'm going to show you guys how to do it, and then hopefully I can get a chance tonight before I edit and get this video ready to export. I can show you the difference or show you how well these lights work. Now, these are the 7-inch rounds. They are really big. I don't know if I'm gonna like them on my A-pillar. I may change them, I don't know yet. But without further ado, let's get into installing these lights on the Outback Wilderness. Before we get into the installation piece, what you're gonna need is a 17mm wrench and a 16mm socket. You will also need the 2 provided Allen keys that come in the box. Now, like I said previously, these lights are rather large. So, you're looking at a 7-inch round light. Now that is, in comparison to the wrench or in comparison to my hand, that's a big light. Will I keep these on the A-pillar? I'm not entirely certain, but this is a good place to start. I may end up putting them on a bumper mount that I'm looking at. I just don't know yet. So when I was talking earlier about the connectors, these connectors are pretty much what comes standard on any off-road light. Now, these are the same connectors that are going to work with my rigid lights on my rigid harness. These are the same connectors that work on the harness that is provided. If you intend to use this, then you're going to have to wire everything up. But since I'm already wired and ready to go, this is the same connector that is on my current wiring harness, so I don't need to worry about this, luckily today. The other thing that you receive is a whole bag of bolts and brackets. I'm going to show you guys how to put these brackets on these lights, then we'll take off the rigid lights that I have on the Outback Wilderness now. We'll throw these on, plug them in, and we'll see how they shine. So I already have one done. I did that off camera just so I could refamiliarize myself. Now, one thing that you want to remember, the brackets, you want to put this bottom bolt in first, because if not, you will not be able to get it in there after this is connected. Another thing that I really like that we'll install here in a second are these 2 set screws. These 2 set screws go in the side of the light, so when you're trying to change the articulation or change the direction it's pointing, you can just loosen those screws and do that. It makes things a lot easier, and quite honestly, I've never seen an off-road light with that on it. Now, on the bracket, you got your washer, then you have your big lock nut, and that's done. The other thing that you have, your long screw that threads through the middle here. So the nice part is, with these brackets and where the set screws go, you can't mess up the orientation. There's only one way that it'll fit. So you put that down through there, add your washer, add your lock nut, and that's that. Then you move over to your set screws. These are a little bit tricky to get in. They work fine. It just takes a little bit. This one might work really easy. Okay, that one went in really easy. The other one was a little tricky, and on the other lights I did for the Power Wagon, it was a little tricky. So then you have this one, put it over here, and now you can control the angle of the light simply by loosening that set screw and changing how it's mounted. That's literally all you have to do to get these ready to mount. Now let's move over to the Outback Wilderness and take the rigid lights off, and we'll throw these on. All right, in order to take the rigid light off, all I had to do was grab a 13mm wrench, and I'm going to unscrew this, pop this off the bracket. Now these brackets, if you're wondering what brackets these are the LP Adventure brackets for the Outback. So if you're looking for a way to mount lights to your hood, LP Adventure has you covered. Now that I have this off, it's literally that simple to do. Now for me, I have the trigger system, and that's what I use to control all my lights. So I will put the trigger system in the description in case you're looking for an auxiliary controller. Because this does not have, oh, that's gone. Just because this does not have any type of auxiliary switches, I had to go with an aftermarket controller. I put the same controller in my Power Wagon. I highly recommend it. It's super easy, and I just uploaded a video about how to install it on the Power Wagon, which you could use for this vehicle as well. So now that I have that off, you grab your light, and it's the same exact process. It really is that simple. So a problem that we just ran into was the carriage bolts that they provide do not fit these holes. They fit the holes on the Power Wagon, but they do not fit these. So instead of drilling these out, you could just pick up a smaller carriage bolt that will fit in here, and this is probably a 5/16. I think this is a 3/8, so a 5/16 thread will fit through here. But what I was able to do is get the nut or the screw, bolt, whatever you want to call it, off of the rigid light, and now I can use that for this. So this will work for now until I go get a new carriage bolt from Lowe's, and then we'll be back in business. Now that you have your light installed, all you need to do is get your Allen keys and get your set screws in place to where you want it. So I'm just going to mess with this and keep it right here for right now. These are more of a driving beam, so they should be shooting forward. But generally, I use these when we are deep in the middle of nowhere and we need to see what's on the side of the road. There's been a couple of times where we've almost hit animals, and that's not any fun. So I try to keep them pointed sideways. That's why I was considering putting the bracket on the front so I can have these facing out, have my rigids to the side. All right. Now that we got that done, all we need to do, and I believe it is the same size here. Yep. So grab your 13mm and your Allen key and just twist this tight, and you're done. Now the next thing we're going to do is go under the hood, and I'm going to connect this connector to my trigger system, and the light will be completely installed. Okay, under the hood we have our connector for the lights as well as what's connected to the trigger system. You simply plug this in, tuck this back down, and you're done. It's that simple. Now my lights are hooked up, and all I have to do is turn the switch on. So I got them both installed. I'm gonna be honest. They're big. A lot bigger than I thought they were gonna be. So am I gonna keep them on there? I don't know yet. I'm gonna keep them on there for now, see how they work, test them out, and then I might put the rigids back up there. I'm not sure I'm ready for something that big, but they would look really nice down here on the bumper, and it would provide a lot of additional light for those few times that you actually need a light this powerful in an off-road situation. So if you guys liked the video or it was helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you can come along for more adventures. I will put the link to the Nixmen Pro Series lights from Nilight in the description so you can go and kind of take a look at what they have. It's nice to have options that are far less expensive that provide you pretty much the same amount of light. And the reality is, you use these lights about 5% of the time, maybe, that you're actually off-road. They're mostly for aesthetics. People would probably argue that, but unless you're wheeling and not a lot at night and you're out a lot at night, you very rarely use your lights. So spending $500 for a set of 2 or spending $100 for a set of 2, I'll leave that up to you, but this is a direction I'm going to go as the build starts to continuously progress. That's where I'm at. So appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.